Good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, and whenever you are watching us. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Africa UAE Business Summit webinar. And of course, this is the FinTech edition. What is FinTech? FinTech is any technology that is used to help your financial transactions. And of course, over the years, we've seen a lot of developments in FinTech. Where I'm from, which is Kenya, one of the greatest exports that we have is what we call M-Pesa, which is mobile money. I mean, I was explaining it the other day to a colleague from outside the country how easy it is to transact money in Kenya. Literally, just go on your mobile phone, no bank account, no nothing, and you can transact. Of course, we have mobile banking. I mean, we have cryptocurrency, we have AI, and very many other types of fintech solutions that across the world. And of course, as technology becomes a big part of our lives, fintech is definitely one of the greatest areas that we are looking into. And so, in today's edition of the Africa UAE Business Summit, we will be looking at fintech and how it's shifting and how it's changing across Africa, and how you then can take full advantage of that. So let me just make sure that we are live on all our platforms. So I could see we are live on. I think we're live on. Yes, we can see we're live on YouTube. So you can join us on YouTube. I think we should be live on LinkedIn also. Yeah, we're live on LinkedIn. Um, we should be live also on Facebook. And I'm going to be joined by a power panel right here that's going to be delving into so many issues, looking at cryptocurrency, looking at AI and fintech, looking at pitching, because we have a lot of beautiful AI solutions out there, but a lot of them need either pre-seed funding, funding for startups, um, funding for scale-ups, and of course we'll be having Ami Joy, who is an expert when it comes to finances. She has a background in banking and deals right now works with a lot of investors and is usually in the room as investors are making decisions. Because at the end of the day, if you are approaching an investor for funding, obviously you are competing with very many other investment opportunities. Should they put their money in gold? Should they put their money in minerals? Should they put their money in property? Should they put their money in stock exchange, or should they put them in your company? So Ami will be helping us, with that conversation. Saimi is also a Kenyan entrepreneur who has been running Mobifin Plus and who has a lot of experience in Kenya operating in this market in fintech. Aaron is originally from Cameroon, but currently working and living in Dubai. So that will be interesting to just hear from Aaron, what is the experience operating from Dubai, navigating the government regulation, which is also another thing that we're going to be looking into. Government regulation, how does it affect you? Of course, the government is a major stakeholder wherever you are. They form the laws, and of course, you always have to be on the right side of the law. So the question is then, how do you balance between regulation and running your business? So all those are the things that we're going to be looking into. So before we delve into it, let me lay the ground really for this conversation. When you're talking about Africa, we're talking of 1.4 billion. The current population in Africa is 1.4 billion. The annual growth rate, the global annual growth rate of population is about 0.31 point something there. But the growth rate in Africa is 2.2. Let that sink in. So you're talking about one of the fastest growing population, one. Two, one of the youngest population. In Kenya, I think it's about, I don't know the facts and figures, but it's about more than 60% of people are below 18. So it's a very young population, very tech savvy. Just the recent happenings in the country, in Kenya, we've seen a lot of protests. as the young guys, who the guys are calling the Gen Zs. They were not so happy about a couple of the things that are happening in government and in policy, and so they were able to coordinate themselves and organize possibly arguably one of the most successful protests, and all that was done on X and on TikTok. And so you're talking about a population that is embracing technology very fast and also being very effective. And also, these are people who engage online. And if you're to use that example of the protest, for example, guys were going online, they're educating each other, they're doing civil education online, and they were able to make a decision that we don't like what's happening, and they're able to mobilize and actually activate online. So you're looking at a population that not only talks and has conversations online, but acts on those conversations. Because the previous older generation, whether you're talking of the Gen X or the baby boomers, they were engaging in social media and they're engaging online, but for them online was just a place of receiving information. They would for example, if it is in marketing, they would trust the recommendation of their friend, a personal friend on a face-to-face, than they would a recommendation which is coming online. So that means you're dealing with a population that will receive digital assets very well, that increases the value of digital assets, whether it's a marketing asset, whether it's fintech or whatever. So that's why Africa is such an opportunity. That's why Africa has such a huge opportunity for fintech. And on top of that, we have a lot of creative fintech ideas. I mean, today we'll be able to hear from two fintech companies that essentially are from Africa. And you'll be able to hear the amazing solutions that they're offering. Because another area of interest that makes Africa such a great opportunity for fintech is that more than 70% of the GDP in Africa is SMEs, small and medium enterprises. And so, and many of these enterprises are unbanked, okay? And so you'll find fintech and any solution that you're giving in the financial sector will find a huge market that is just ready for the uptick. And that is why you'll find, if you do your research, you'll find most of the unicorns that are coming out of Africa are actually fintech. They're fintech companies. And so if you're an investor, I know I'm just before on the backstage we were talking with Ami, who engages a lot of investors, and one of the things we were saying is that for investors, you don't have a lot of access of information about what's really happening in Africa, because unfortunately the news is usually skewed. Like right now, if you go online, you'll hear about Kenyan protests, how we've been protesting for Homa, but you will not hear great news about someone like Saini, who's been doing fintech in Africa, in Kenya for I think more than 12 years. You won't hear the news about the great innovations. People don't know about M-Pesa, which is so common to us, that people don't know about the great innovations and the great developments and the great opportunities that are available in Africa. And that's why we are holding this Africa UAE Business Summit. On the flip side, talking about UAE and Africa, I mean, if you've been living under a certain rock, please let me give you the 411. The next big game in town is UAE, it's GCC, okay? The West has been there, the developed, what you call, quote unquote, the developed countries have been there. But if you look at what's happening, just recently you saw what happened in Japan, and how what happened in Japan affected the stock market in the US. Okay, you've heard about how any single war, the war in Israel happens, it affects Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, Russia, all those political unrest. You see the kind of mayhem it always causes in the West. All that is, as all that is going on, that never affects the GCC, never affects the UAE, because they're sort of insulated themselves because of their political outlook. The economical structure is not based on other areas. They have just developed their own ecosystem based on innovation and just attracting. Because if you look at mostly the UAE, the main area is like something like Dubai is they're really weaning themselves off dependence, the economic dependence on fossil fuels. And so they've been focusing on a lot of a lot of tourism, investing a lot in tourism, investing a lot in trade. Okay, and attracting investment. And so GCC is really the place you need to be in, because that's the next big thing. Okay. And the entry point then for UAE becomes Dubai. So, and everybody knows that. If you look at the number of, apparently, just in the first quarter of 2024, more than 19,000 small companies, small and medium companies, have been registered in Dubai alone. We're talking of more than 500,000 SMEs in Dubai and in the UAE. And so all those companies that have been attracted to Dubai and to the UAE because of the amazing business environment. I mean, the business environment in the UAE is something probably we'll do an entire webinar on, because you're talking of very friendly tax regime, very easy regulation. Almost, they literally open the door and lay down the carpet for you to just come in, set up your business there, and they make it as easy as possible for you to come in. And then they also create that good environment so that everybody is rushing in there. And so for the fintech companies, or for fintech investors across Africa, you really need to be getting into the UAE and getting into Dubai, and also using that then as a gateway into the GCC. And of course, Ami will be joining us. Ami Joy will be joining us later on, just to tell us about the ecosystem in Dubai, and what are some of those opportunities. So I can see Tyler Tana is saying, can you talk about how to sell a startup to someone who would be interested in buying? I have two projects and it's getting exhausting to manage both. Excellent, Tyler. We'll be talking about that. We can assist individuals and fintech virtual asset companies to set up in UAE. That is Selvina Noreen. So yeah, so kindly on Facebook, on YouTube, ask your questions. Um, Reach out to us. Let's see how we can help you. And if you wanna email me, my email is Bonnie. Let me put it in the chat. Bonnie@mawaidha.com. That is my email. Let me show that. Bonnie@mawaidha.com. Reach out if you want to find out anything that you hear on this platform, and you wanna do a follow up. Reach out, or reach out to my LinkedIn, Boniface Nyaga, or Mawaidha Africa on Facebook, Mawaidha Africa, or Instagram. Reach out to us, and let's have these conversations. Let's see how we can expand. And so I'm going to invite my first guest, who is Saimi Tande. Let me bring him up. Hi, Saimi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Awesome. I trust everybody can also hear you. So, Saimi, welcome to the Africa UAE Business Summit. This
Thank you
webinar,
very much.
we are obviously focusing on fintech. So, give us a quick introduction of who you are and what you're about.
Okay, so my name is Saimi Tande, CEO and founder of Mobifin Plus. Mobifin Plus is a fintech company in Kenya, and we started operations in 2012. And how by being we started at an era where there was no mobile what would I say, mobile apps. What the banks were using at that time were USSD. Station that we had to go and line up in an M-Pesa shop to get to get funds deposited or to withdraw funds. So one time I was at a restaurant and I saw this very long line of in a Safaricom shop. So I said, how can I make this easier for people to be able to deposit these funds from their bank account? Now, at the time, no bank had a mobile mobile app. Mobile banking was non-existent. So I said, how do I connect the bank to your M-Pesa? And the only way I saw doing that was by getting the ATM Visa card. So how Mobifin was born was by first we created a platform where you could run your Visa card online, and those funds, once they clear out on our end, which would take about say anything to up to 2 minutes, so that the service provider would then confirm that the funds have been credited in our collection account. Once that happens, then we would get, our system would automatically then send the money to M-Pesa. And at that point, we felt like we've actually we could actually solve a lot of problems because of this M-Pesa issue of lines and stuff. So then at that point, I remember, I think it was about 3 to 5 months, the first bank came up with a mobile app, which was, I remember it was Imperial Bank, which later, of course, as everyone knows, came to close down. But Imperial Bank came up with the first mobile app where you could get now funds from your bank account to your M-Pesa. But we still had an edge because we could do it with any bank. So for as long as it was only one bank that had that feature, then we were still okay. So of course, once that started, one bank getting the mobile app, then what happened is another one came, and another one, another one. Then Mobifin then morphed into a proper fintech, whereby now we enhanced our platform to be able to help SMEs and smaller companies to be able to do their petty cash payments online, because that was also another challenge that many companies had. So we enhanced our platform, and we got some companies on board, and what they would do is they would load their e-wallets on our platform, and they could make payments to literally anywhere. They could make it to a pay bill, they could make it to mobile money, they could make it to a bank. It was a seamless operation, and ever since we have just been morphing into other things. You can now pay your utility bills. You can now make payments abroad through of course third party service providers that we also have. We can even sign you up with your own B2C. B2C is business to customer, which is provided by M-Pesa. So you can even come in with your own B2C, and we can integrate you onto our platform. And so we've kept morphicizing into a platform that companies need as and when.
That's an interesting background. And how important is it for fintech companies to keep evolving? Because whatever technology you have, I mean, right now we're talking about AI and just what AI can do and is doing. So when you're talking about for fintech companies out there, how important is it for you to keep evolving, re-engineering yourself to make yourself and your product relevant to the market?
I believe it is imperative that you keep evolving, because I'll give you a quick example. Like at the time when I was in college back in the 2000s, when I finished my degree in business IT, whatever I had learned, 70% of it, well, about 60% of it was already obsolete, because by the time I was doing my course, we were using floppy disks. By the time I finished, CDs had come in. So that technology of floppy disks had already become obsolete. Now we are dealing with a situation where technology is changing. It used to be every 2 years. Now technology is changing probably every 3 months. And this is because of this radical change in technology, which is called AI. AI has come and will completely change the game. And as a fintech platform and as a fintech company, you always must evolve with the times. You must always keep up with the technology and see how you can integrate it to your platform so that you can always remain relevant. Because I can tell you, if I remained at the point where you just run your Visa card and you get it on M-Pesa, I would be the fintech company by now would be closed. Mobifin would be a dead story. But because we kept evolving with the time, we have remained relevant in in the fintech industry, and we believe that when with every evolving technology, you must keep up with it so that you can remain relevant. Otherwise, once you're left behind, I can tell you for sure, catching up will be a headache for you.
Awesome. That's important. And so it's important in fintech to not just adapt to what's happening, but actually look in front and get ahead so that,
Yes.
I mean, in life, you're either disrupting or being disrupted. And so when you look at what's coming, talk to us about AI, talk to us about cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
What's the next frontier in fintech, in Africa, in Kenya, but also globally?
um with the coming of I believe I believe not many of us cannot be able to tell just how far AI will take us. And I'll give you an example. In this, in the development of this platform, when I was in back in 2012, I built this platform over a period of 8 months, and I did that. The reason why it took that long is because, of course, we kept changing as we went along, and also I was dependent on a developer to keep. I tell him do this, do this, do this, and he kept doing it, doing it, doing it. So anyway, it took that long. I can tell you, after a while, because I had to familiarize myself with the platform, I became, I would say, a passive coder, because my profession is in systems architecture, but I came to know how to program systems because by virtue of just having a platform that was, of course, developed. So eventually, I learned this coding. But then, come last year, when AI was really starting to become rampant, I there's one project I got from one of our customers, and they required a customization of our platform, because that's what we do. We customize our platform to fit in to your organization. So they required a customization, which I would say would be about uh, 60% of what Mobifin, the core Mobifin is. And I did that. I did that customization with nothing but AI. I did not go to my developer. I did not go to anyone. I just did that with AI. So that made me realize that AI is completely disruptive. And you, as a, as I would say, not just fintech, but even to an individual level, you would have people will have to keep up with this technology in order to make money in the future. But at this very, very moment, nobody can really tell you how far AI will take us, because it keeps surprising us every single day, because it also keeps learning every single day. So I believe that people must keep up with this technology, but as we speak right now, I cannot predict just how far AI will take us, but
Mm,
it's a very exciting time to be in.
mm. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Saimi, Saimi Tande. And definitely we'll have you back to also comment
Hello.
on some of the things that have been happening in the country, in terms of, just the push for better governance, the protest and all that kind of a thing. But for now, let me welcome to the stage Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Are you with us?
Yes. Hi, Bonnie. How are you doing?
Great, great. Hi, Aaron. So, tell us a bit more about yourself, and also a bit sweet about Switcher, and how's the journey been for you?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity to. My name is Aaron Munga, originally from Cameroon. I live and work in Dubai. I'm the founder and CEO of Switcher. Switcher is an e-wallet app, and what we do is leverage blockchain technology to simplify cross-border remittance and payments, as well as providing a range of other services conveniently accessible within the same app. What this means is, thanks to blockchain technology and stable coins, we are able to empower anyone with a smartphone, to be able to send or receive funds, to pay or to be paid instantly in USD denominated transactions. Simply put, if a guy is in Cameroon and wants to send funds to a guy in Ghana, the guy in Cameroon simply can add the funds into Switcher from either his MTN mobile money wallet or Orange Money. It gets tokenized. Again, Switcher handles all of this into a US dollar stable coin, which can be transacted on chain from one Switcher wallet to the other free of charge. And then the guy in Ghana, upon receiving the funds, can either apply the funds to acquire to avail services on the app, or can also use the fund, can withdraw the funds from the USD stablecoin within Switcher into his or her own mobile wallet, something like MTN mobile wallet, Airtel, and so on, depending on what is supported. So we do withdrawals. We support withdrawals into mobile money and bank accounts across different markets, and we also support wallet recharge across a wide range of markets. In fact, we support wallet recharge almost globally, and we are working hard to expand the number of markets where people can withdraw funds from the app into other ecosystems, bank accounts, mobile money, and we are also adding a range of services on the app. Right now, we have airtime. You can buy airtime across 100 plus countries. You can buy gift cards, and you can also obtain Visa and Master prepaid cards, which you can use to shop online or to pay for things like Netflix, Facebook ads, etc. Yeah, Switcher is aimed at making sure that anyone within Africa, especially, can transact with
Mhm.
another person from any part of Africa almost instantly and without
Mm.
breaking the bank.
Awesome, awesome. When you think about Africa, it's quite a challenging. Let me not say difficult. It's a challenging environment because you're dealing with 54 different countries, different economic areas, different regulations. How do you navigate the regulatory hurdles, um, to be able to operate in a cost-effective way as a startup?
Yeah. Yes, Africa is a very challenging landscape. Doing business in Africa is particularly very challenging for reasons which you've already mentioned. However, thanks to blockchain technology, we've been able to find a mode of operations that really fits such a complex environment. So, what we do is we tokenize the funds that people put in their wallet, and we move these funds on chain. And then we partner with, because again, when it comes to blockchain technology, it's a parallel system to the conventional financial system. So you're not limited by geography, you're not limited by international boundaries. Funds are simply moving on chain. And then what we do is we partner with a lot of local players licensed across these different markets who do the final provision of services or the delivery of money into bank accounts and mobile money accounts in exchange to receiving stable coins from us. Say someone has money in their account, their switcher account in Cameroon, and they want to send to someone in Nigeria. Once that money is moved from one switcher account to the other, the beneficiary in Nigeria does a withdrawal from their switcher account, their bank account. Now we have a partner in Nigeria who is licensed as a financial service provider or financial institution who will accept crypto from us, stable coins, and then issue naira in exchange. So that way, we focus on building the technology and having that blockchain infrastructure that moves, that transacts with digital asset or stable coins on chain, and then the partners across the different markets can deal with the final, the last mile provision of services or the delivery of funds. So that's how we've been able to navigate the landscape, and we are expanding quickly. Before the end of the year, we'll be able to support payouts across at least 20 different African countries, because all we really need to do is find a partner in a country that is willing to transact with us in stable coins and then does the last mile delivery of service or funds. And because we are using blockchain technology, we are not limited by the conventional banking system. And of course, we are very careful with the choice of blockchains. Like most of the transactions we do in stable coins, we do on Solana blockchain, which has a quick time to, a quick time to finality, and also a very low gas or transaction fees.
Interesting. Now, when you speak about cryptocurrency, I was talking to a close friend just the other day, they saw the adverts for this crypto. When you talk about cryptocurrency, a lot of people are scared about it because we've had a lot of forex guys who are in forex coming in, and guys have lost a lot of money in cryptocurrency. So, just in a nutshell, what how would you explain what cryptocurrency is, and how can you utilize cryptocurrency in the right way and not in the way a lot of people have lost their money? Like, what would you advise someone who wants to understand better about cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, Bonnie, because I think a lot of people get into cryptocurrency without understanding what cryptocurrency is or how it's structured, and they end up losing a lot of money. Now, I will tell you something. Cryptocurrency is basically, think about money that is not controlled by a central bank. So it's a digital asset that operates on a decentralized, let me not use the word blockchain, but on a decentralized server without any central control authority. However, people lose money because there is transactional motives and then there is speculative motive. Now, in terms of like what Switcher does so far, we are using blockchain for transactional purposes. We are using blockchain as a way of transferring value from point A to point B, which without any limitations in geography and with almost instant delivery. This is what we are using blockchain for. And for that, there is, as long as I have the wallet infrastructure, the sender's wallet is correct, the beneficiary's wallet is also correct, then there is really no risk. However, a lot of people have lost money because I hear of these stories as well. I'm quite aware of what is happening, is because they want to get into blockchain and they think that is or cryptocurrency, and they think that is a get rich quick scheme. So that's speculative, wherein someone comes and tells you if you buy Bitcoin today, and you keep it for some time, the price will rise by 100 folds, and then you can sell and you make money. That's that's a speculative, like you're using cryptocurrency as a speculative asset. And by the way, when it comes to transactions that we do on Switcher, it's in stable coin. So there is no the value doesn't change. One USDC is always equal to one US dollar. So think about it as a digital US dollar that always stays the same. So digital US dollar on chain. Now, going back to holding cryptocurrency for speculative reason is not necessarily a bad thing, because it's a digital asset, right? And there are other asset classes like equity, bonds, and so on, that people hold and they expect to get a return. Cryptocurrency is no different. However, there is what we call a centralized system and a decentralized system. If I am keeping my if I buy Bitcoin today and I put it in a centralized exchange, for example, Binance has both centralized and decentralized exchange, and I put it in a centralized exchange, it means I am actually giving them full control of my asset, right? And they can do whatever they want with that asset. And now I have to trust that they have integrity not to misuse my asset. However, if I'm holding that same asset on a decentralized wallet like MetaMask, I have full control. No one can, no one can access my asset without my permission. And of course, you have a lot of decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and so on and so forth. I don't want to go into all of these complexities. But however, if you take your time and try to understand what cryptocurrency is, how you can hold cryptocurrency, how you can use
mm,
it for speculative and for transactional purposes, then you can avoid
mm,
losing money. A lot of the stories is
mm.
always people who want to put in $100 today and they hope to get
Mhm.
$10,000 tomorrow. You know,
Exactly.
and life doesn't work that way, right?
Mm,
If it's
mm.
too good to be true, then it's maybe not true.
Not true.
Yeah.
So true. That is so true. So learn before you earn. Don't jump into something just because you saw an advert with some guy driving around in a Lamborghini telling you, this is how I made quick cash. You can also do it. I mean, so take your time to learn before you earn. So Aaron, stick with us. We'll get back to you in our final session in the Q&A. So thank you very much. We'll have you back later. Right now, let me bring up Ami. Hi, Ami Joy.
Hello, Bonnie. Hello, world.
Hi. Welcome, welcome. You have been patiently waiting the backstage. So tell us more about yourself, what you do, and what you're all about.
Thank you, Bonnie, for the wonderful introduction. And thank you so much for inviting me to this platform. So, I'm Amy Joy, CEO and founder of Earnest International Business Solutions. So, Earnest International Business Solution is a business advisory firm based in Dubai. So, taking you back to my background, I was always working with banks, local banks, I could say. One of the biggest bank in UAE for into business banking for nearly 10 years. And then I moved to DIFC, which is the sixth biggest financial hub across the globe. So I was working in DIFC into private wealth advisory, primarily with banks like UBS, Julius Baer, and Credit Suisse for a couple of years. And then it's been nearly 3 years that I started my business journey with an advisory firm. So I'm from India. I live in Dubai since last nearly 20 years now. And yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Awesome, awesome. So, as a private wealth advisor, you interact a lot with investors, and the thing is, of course, at the point of making an investment, you're obviously competing. If you're a fintech company, you're obviously competing with other investment options because obviously the investor can put their money in the stock exchange, they can put it in bonds, they can put it even in crypto, whichever space is available. Walk us through the expectations that investors have when they are deciding, okay, I like this fintech. I want to put a million, 2 million, $3 million. What's going through the minds of an investor when they're making that decision?
Okay, wonderful question, Bonnie. So, like you rightly said, investors have choice, right? And Dubai is a land of choices. So, anything if you want pick from this ocean of choices, it's not easy. So, it's the same with investors. So, if I'm an investor, I will have lot many opportunities in front of me, and I can be picky. I can be very segment specific, and it's not like how investors used to think probably 10 or 15 years before. So each segment, whether if it's trading, if we just consider general trading, there are so many bifurcations. There are many categories in trading. Like if we talk about fintech, within fintech, it can be into medicine, it can be into various things. So, or maybe if we consider manufacturing, so it's very segments. Investors are, yeah, segment specific. They will have certain affinity for certain segments, And moreover, even in one segment itself, they will have lot many options. So how, as an investor, I can outsmart the other opportunities? So it's like winning a reality show. So investors will have lot many opportunities. So how we can outsmart others and become more investor ready with all the maybe numbers or elements that investors are looking at. That is first and foremost, be ready with how to make your baby, your investment opportunity or your business investor friendly.
Hmm. Interesting. So it's like a reality TV show. What is that? Big Brother or Idols or well, or a Survivor. I think the best example would be Survivor. The way everybody's trying to outsmart the other one. You really have to be ahead of the game. And so, what would you say are the five things that entrepreneurs, and right now we're talking with fintech entrepreneurs, what are the five things that fintech entrepreneurs in Africa need to have in order for them to say I'm investor ready?
Okay, so first and foremost, what I have noticed, I've come across investors with startups or probably a patented technology, coming and sitting with me that I have everything ready for running the business. So I need to look out for investors. So they might be sitting in front of me with a 50-page investment memorandum. So everything is very quick, right? The turnaround time in Dubai is very short. So we should be ready with a small business deck, or I could say a pitch deck for your investment opportunity, talking about the numbers of the business, because investors talk numbers, right? With regards to the ROI, maybe what is the exit strategy. So maybe if at times he want to exit the investment, how friendly it can be the opportunity, or what can be the return that he can expect in terms of dividends or capital gain or whatever relevant. So a realistic feasibility study, a realistic business plan, a realistic market research, all of this will add value to when you sit along with an investor to make it more investor friendly for the investor, rather than having too many jargons or maybe a huge document or 50-pager investment memorandum. Be ready with a small deck, maybe one pager or a two-pager, which can cover all the elements which the investors want to look at. How your business model can be unique, how your business model can generate revenue quickly and get be running, um, you know, be very attractive for clients, how to make more revenues. These, be ready with all the tools.
Hmm. Awesome,
That is
awesome,
one
awesome.
thing.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yes, that's one thing. So one, have a pitch deck. Um, what are
Yes.
then in terms of the numbers? What kind of numbers then are? What kind of numbers make investors excited?
See, it depends completely based on the if we talk about ROI, it depends on the segment, right? If it's manufacturing, it might take a little longer. If it's real estate, it can be quicker. So depends on segment to segment. Or if it's fintech, because it will take a while for the business to be up and running and generate revenue. So it is
Mm.
very specific to the segment.
Very specific. I can also imagine that definitely be looking at the fundamentals of the business, just like Saimi was talking about a technology which he brought in 2012. Obviously, if then you're bringing in a technology that is soon to be outdated, or the fundamentals are not supporting
Yeah.
the premise of your technology, then I can imagine that's some of the things that investors will be looking at, and they're like, what problem do you solve? Because at the end of the day, business is about solving problems. So what problem do you solve? How well do you solve that problem better than other solutions?
See, if you particularly talk about technology, it's again a very vast area with a lot of competition. So today I might
Mm,
be having a technology which cannot survive long. So sustainability is very important. So the investors might
mm,
be listening, various such, even I have come across business plans where they approach me for the licensing regulatory regulated license. However, they had to even stop on halfway. So the sustainability is very important. The yeah, UAE as a market, Dubai as a market is highly demanding. And if it's a regulated, mostly fintech companies are regulated, right? Whether we are talking about DFSA as a jurisdiction, or maybe regulated by central bank, the requirements are quite high. So we should be sustainable in with regards to the requirements. So, for example, if you are applying for a license from DFSA, it takes quite a long time for the approval. And even for us to be ready with the panel of DFSA, the requirement is quite big, and there will be capital deposits required, financial commitments from the beginning itself. So no investor will get in before, it's difficult to get an investor in pre-revenue stage. So we have to be up and running at least till then, right, to attract the investors.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think I'm gonna bring back Saini and Aaron back to the conversation. So maybe let's tackle a question here. Tyler Turner says, can you talk about how to sell a startup to someone who will be interested in buying? I have two projects and it's getting exhausting to manage. I don't know who would pick that up. Yes. Maybe Ami, you're gonna. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe you can
could you
advise.
repeat the question, Bonnie? Could you repeat the question?
Okay. So Tana is saying, can you talk about how to sell a startup to someone who would be interested in buying? I have two projects and it's getting exhausting to manage both. So buying an existing business, because you deal with investors, what are some of those
All
things
right.
that investors look at when buying a new business? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is about acquiring an operational business, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is one area where I engage mostly, because mostly I get inquiries where from when investors are coming from other jurisdiction rather than starting from the scratch. Some people prefer to acquire an operational business. So yeah, this is depending on which segment again, and the budget, and what are the requirements. Sometimes some business owners, when they want to acquire, they just require a license and an active bank account, and then from there, because that itself is a very lengthy process, right, to get a license and an active bank account. That's again a lengthy process. So sometimes business owners want to acquire a license without any assets or without any liabilities, just a license with a bank account. So we do the due diligence pretty much to make sure the operational license or the bank account, this is ready for acquisition. Or sometimes it can be a manufacturing unit, a fabrication unit, such kind of. Then we'll have to identify a suitable business operational in Dubai based on the requirements of the client or the investor who want to acquire this.
I think
So
Tana
the time
also, just
frame,
like within. Yes. Yes. Continue.
yeah, the time frame, or the turnaround time depends on various factors, like the requirements, and we have to definitely match the requirement, identifying a right business in the market.
Very true, very true. I can also imagine, I mean, the value proposition of your business really is just like you're saying. And I hope, Tana, you're still with us. You can just comment if you're still with us and if this answers are satisfactory. But I can imagine the value proposition of your business then is the problem it solves.
Yeah.
And what's the future of that particular problem. Now, Tana has not said what exactly his other business is, because like your business may be earning money right now, but maybe in the next 5 years, the fundamentals which it is founded on are going to change. I mean, I can imagine like imagine Kodak just before the advent of digital of the digital camera. Kodak was worth a lot of money, but the
Yes,
minute
exactly.
the camera came in, it literally just made the entire business structure of Kodak completely and absolutely useless. Now at Mawaida, we do a lot of consultancy in terms of product development and product advice. And one of the things we always look at is in terms of the product that you have, how relevant is it in the market? It's what we call top of the tree consultancy, because a business is like a tree. So you're under the tree, you're taking care of the tree, But the thing is, there's a whole elephant that is coming that's gonna, knock down your entire tree. And so as you're busy under the tree, you can't see the elephant that's coming. So I think, China, it would be important to just do a business analysis of where is your business, what does your business do, what problem does your business solve, and then, just like Ami was saying, who then has the appetite to invest in that area? Because, yeah, Ami, you're very right. Investors invest based on their appetite, okay, and the experience. If someone has a lot of experience in hospitality, because every single business, there's no, just like Aaron was talking about cryptocurrency. People jump into crypto because they've seen one or two people have made a lot of money, and they want to jump into crypto because they had this guy made money. But it's not just about the making money just because crypto makes money. You make money in a business because of how much you know and how much knowledge and experience you have in that space. So obviously, Tana, if someone is buying your business, you need to match yourself with people who are interested in that space, because they have experience in that space, they have knowledge in that space, or they have a key partner in that space, or they have appetite in that space. So that will be something that we'll be interested in. But definitely, Chana will maybe reach out to you later and maybe carry on with that conversation. But I hope that answers. And if it doesn't, maybe just in the comment section, you can just talk to us, and let's hear more about it. Now, something I want to touch on, and we can go around with this conversation. In Kenya, of course, over the last 1 month, we've had very extensive protests. First started out because of the finance bill, which was quite retrogressive in terms of fintech. Some of those clauses, a couple of analysts were arguing, would have actually wiped out our entire fintech, ecosystem. So let's talk about that new push of the new push in. We've seen it. We've seen those protests in Africa, in Kenya. We've seen it in Uganda. We've also seen a couple of protests in Nigeria. We saw what happened in Bangladesh and Venezuela. So there's a new generation that has come in that is demanding more, inclusion in the political system. So maybe we can share. Maybe you can start with Ami. How did those protests in Kenya affect the short-term business? But also, how will this push and pull between the new generation and the political class? How is it in the long run going to affect business in Africa and then the UAE? Ami?
Yeah, I remember this is the latest one, the protest in Kenya, right? I come across a couple of my clients who were about to travel to Kenya, had to stop the travel. And I remember one of my client who was stuck in Kenya during the protest. And so this will definitely create a lot of stress in the business, not only just in person. It will definitely create a lot of stress in business as well. And moreover, since I come from banking, I completely relate to this, because when we onboard a client, whether if it's an individual relationship or maybe a corporate relationship, so any background or connection with countries or cities exposed to unrest, there will be little more stringency in onboarding. So whether we pretty much cover new incorporations of licenses. We assist clients in getting new licenses, new businesses, and also banking relationship as well. So these are completely related to authorities here. So, and I think what I could relate to this is the incident that is with Nigeria, right? So we have a lot of Nigerians here in Dubai, but however, the immigration is stopped since a while now, and we're expecting this to be open soon. So the political unrest or any protest, definitely that will create stress in bilateral relationship. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Saimi, you operate in Kenya. Of course, the finance bill that has since been rejected was had a lot of clauses that was an overreach, that a lot of analysts were saying would affect fintech. Of course, in particular was the right of government to have easy access to people's financial information, and especially with very robust, taxation and all kind of thing, a lot of people may have then shied away from using fintech and just go back to cash. Tell us about how's the regulatory environment you find in Kenya, and now the fact that that bill was rejected. What's the fintech space? How is the fintech space reacting to that rejection? Saimi?
Well, the how the fintech, we can say, has been somewhat excuse me, we can say it has been somewhat saved by the fact that the finance bill hasn't gone out, because the finance bill was really going to be very stringent on fintech companies, and the snooping that the government was going to be able to do, and stuff like that, was going to make people completely shy away from using technology in making payments and all. So of course, eventually that would have totally affected our fintech services. And even at one point, banks were talking about how these clauses would actually bring them down, and that was because people would just simply do what we call mattress banking, in the name of not being snooped by the government. So the falling of the bill is something that's very welcome to the fintech, because most of the clauses that in that bill were going to be exorbitant to many companies, and fintech also involved. So it is something that is very welcome in the fintech world.
Awesome, awesome. And maybe Aaron, you also had a couple of upheavals in Cameroon, particularly between the French and the English speaking. Tell us a little bit about that, and how are those? How is that issue affecting fintech in Cameroon, and also in Nigeria? We had protests. So talk to us about the situation in Cameroon and West Africa in general.
Yeah, I think like Ami already pointed out, any kind of unrest or any kind of unrest or political upheaval dampens the economic outlook of any country or any region, and that goes to reduce investor interest, or even like for I will use Cameroon for example. We've had a crisis for some years now, in the affected regions, which happens to be the region where I come from. You know, people are more worried now about survival. Like nothing else is more important than just surviving, because you have a highly reduced level of activities, economic activities. You have ghost towns every week. People have shorter working weeks and so on. And those who can leave the region are leaving, and they do so with their capital. They take away they take their economic activities and reinstall themselves in other region. And this creates hardship. Now, how this affects fintech, I'll use a very simple example. Imagine a fintech that was operating in the affected region before 2016, and their business model was to help people save more, maybe to do daily savings and so on. The moment people only save over and above what they need to meet their immediate needs. So if people are not able to even meet their immediate needs, then they cannot talk about savings. So that fintech is automatically dead. Then, secondly, because the region is affected, of course, there is energy crisis. You will have electricity will be on and off, and so on and so forth. The environment will not be stable. So, by virtue, when you say fintech, it means financial technology, right? So, technology needs electricity. Like if people can only deal, for example, switcher, we are not a client-facing business. All the transactions is done through the app, and if people are not connected, they're not online, or they cannot charge their smartphones, then it seriously affects your business. So just like every other business form, fintechs as well needs an enabling environment, a stable and enabling environment to thrive, So, of course, any kind of unrest affects fintechs as well.
Yeah,
And of
very
course,
true, very true.
one last thing, there is,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm using again Cameroon as an example, there is now increased oversight. I mean, I will not say regulatory, but oversight burden on fintechs. Like right now, the government will be monitoring every financial transaction that is happening into this region more than they were doing before the crisis, because they want to make sure that funds are not flowing to the people that are, maybe to sponsor the unrest and so on and so forth. So, I mean, as switcher, of course, we are very careful. We have to do KYC and so on. So it makes it a bit difficult for fintechs now, because any money that is flowing into that region, you have to vet and vet and vet again to be sure that the money doesn't end up in wrong hands. Because if the money ends up in wrong hands and goes to finance, shady activities, you will be in serious problems with the government. So there are so many ways I could go on and on, but there are so many ways that um, this kind of crisis affects fintech organization.
Yeah, very true. And I think that sort of answers. I can see Nahom testify. He's saying, what are challenges on the fintech area in Africa? It's a lot. Can you name the main challenges? So I think we've already named some of the main challenges. We've talked about government regulation. We've talked about the segmentation of the different countries and the multiple regulations that you have faced. We've talked about also some of the political unrest and how that affects. But there's a Chinese saying, which saying "weiji." I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it boils down to, even in war there is opportunity. And if you think about business, businesses exist to solve a problem. So in the myriad of problems, there is a myriad of opportunities from that perspective. And so when I think, and it's a conversation I think we're having with Saimi the other day, that when there is this kinds of unrests, and this kind of economic upheavals, the big companies are the ones which sort of crumble because they are the big boys. They're easy to crumble, but they also leave a lot of room. So what happens is SMEs increase. I did an analysis the other day on the transport sector because of some of the technological advancements, like the Mombasa, the SGR. Because of the SGR, you'll find a lot of the big buses then cannot, because they're facing a lot of competition from the newly developed train, and also a lot of fundamental, and there's also a lot of construction that was happening on the route from Nairobi to Mombasa. So that collapsed most of the big bus companies, but that also gave the rise of many little small companies that have then come up to fill that gap. So as we're looking at the challenges, um, what opportunities then, or rather, let me put this across. There are a lot of challenges facing fintechs. What opportunities then are available in those challenges? And maybe, Aaron, you can start with giving us your own experience of how you've been able to navigate the challenges in Africa.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. In fact, without challenges, there's no need for innovation. Actually, innovation and entrepreneurship is really about identifying challenges slash opportunities and then building a solution for those challenges. One of the biggest challenges in the African ecosystem when it comes to financial transactions is the segmentation. You have 54 countries, 41 currencies, 8 or maybe 9 economic blocks, because there's a new one coming up, and it makes it very difficult. The guy in Kenya cannot transact smoothly with the guy in Cameroon, because you can use Kenyan shillings in Cameroon, but you cannot use you can use Kenyan shillings in Kenya, but in Cameroon you have to use the franc CFA, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of segmentation. However, that creates an opportunity, and that's basically how Switcher was born. We saw this, and now blockchain comes in, wherein you can do transactions on chain, and it transcends these artificial boundaries. I call them artificial boundaries because Africa should be one, but that's a whole different conversation. So blockchain It's a parallel system where you can move value from one end of the world to the other. And with blockchain, there is nothing like a national currency. You have a digital currency that is globally accepted, at least not by everybody, but I think the adoption is pushing. So you have people in Cameroon, we have partners in Cameroon that understand cryptocurrency, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, in UAE, in the US, and so on. So if we have people all over the world that understand the value behind cryptocurrency, and I also understand that the average guy on the street doesn't understand what cryptocurrency is. And we said, you know what, we will build an application that is very simple to use so that people can come in and put their funds. We do the tokenization for them, and then we move the digital asset on chain across the world. And then these different partners accept this cryptocurrency in exchange for service provision or for last mile transaction settlement. So amidst the challenges of a very complex and fragmented market, we saw an opportunity to use blockchain and build a Pan-African, I will not even say Pan-African because we are already touching some emerging markets. We are already touching India. We are touching some countries in South America and so on and so forth. So this was a challenge, but blockchain has been able to, with blockchain, we've been able to create a wallet that leverages on this challenge to build a business. And I think the adoption is growing so fast. Before the end of this year, we'll be able to power transactions to, between, and across 20 African countries, while linking Africa maybe to Asia, Africa to South America. And this is born out of the challenge that we are talking about. So you're 100% right that where there is a challenge, beneath that challenge lies an opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. Maybe Saimi, also you can share with us, what are some of those key challenges in Kenya and also maybe in East Africa, and how is your platform then able to leverage on that challenge to create a product? Saimi, switch on your mic.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Just repeat your question again. Sorry.
I'm saying, what are some of the challenges, financial challenges, in Kenya and in East Africa generally, and how have you been able to leverage? Because what we're saying is challenges are really a bed for us to create solutions. Because without problems, there's no business. So basically, what are some of those challenges in Kenya and in East Africa, and how have you been able to utilize your platform to really solve those problems?
Well, again, if I go back in the history of my company, the first challenge that we had in 2012 was actually the uptick of online platforms. We had a lot of skepticism about transacting online, being able to run your card and then bring it to your M-Pesa, and that was actually one of the main challenges. But now with the way I guess I would say more people are educated on online transactions, online processes, we can now say that the uptake is much better. The other thing would be in terms of finances, because sometimes you can have, like, for example, I told you our company deals with customizing solutions for them, and some of these companies want a solution. However, some of them are not willing to foot the bill, because they're saying, customize this for us. We like the platform the way it is, but then can you customize this? Can you customize that and that and that? It may seem small to them, but then it's not so small to us. However, we have managed to do this for them without too much of a fuss. And now, like I explained earlier about the AI, how I was able to customize a system, or rather our MobiFin platform, like I would say, if MobiFin, the platform is 100%, this customization required about 60% of that customization to just fit them. And we were able to do this in record time of about a week, and we did it with AI. So again, the challenge was this financial challenge was there, but now it has been eased slightly, slightly to moderately by AI. So I would say those are the main challenges, I would say. And some are back to the regulation bit. For example, like in Kenya, you're not able to get a PSP license, payment service provider license, if you do not have a certain threshold of uh, transactional value. Okay, and of course, the main challenge, of course, is now the process it takes, how long it takes. Like Ami was explaining, even in the UAE, the regulation bit is quite rigorous, I would say. So that's also another challenge that we face in our country as well, and I would believe in East Africa, because all these places require you to have some sort of licensing before you can even get the big boy businesses to come on board, because some of these big boy businesses will require you to have a PSP license, something like that. And that PSP license, you can see, like I'm explaining, it requires you to have a certain threshold of transactional value. And if you're not there, then they will just say, okay, go and just use the M-Pesa, ride on the M-Pesa license up until the point where you get to this level, then we can start the process. And some of these processes are quite lengthy, I would say. So it's also another challenge that small SMEs and companies like MobiFin that want to scale up have this hindrance from regulations, and also financial hindrances from scaling to the level that they would want to get to.
Awesome. I think Nahom Tesfaye, I think that should answer your question. We are now out of time, but this has been an amazing conversation. Talk to us, Bonnie at mawida.com, if you want to get in touch with any of our panelists, or any question that you may have, follow-up questions, all that kind of a thing. Maybe before we leave, we could do a parting shot. Maybe we can go in alphabetic order. So let's start with Aaron. A parting shot, your final words to our audience tonight.
I just want to thank everybody for taking out time in their schedules to attend this session. And I would say, if you are an African or a friend of Africa, let's build our Africa. That's what I would say. In whatever aspect, not only fintech, whatever aspect, let's build our own Africa. Make your own contribution in your own little space. And if everyone does that, then we will definitely build our Africa, and we will live in the Africa that we want to see.
Awesome. Thank you. That has been Aaron Muga, CEO of Switcher, an amazing platform. Go out, get to know more about it. Ami, give us a final word.
Yeah, I completely second Aaron in this. Being in Dubai, I love Dubai. I love the business ecosystem we have here. So anybody hearing us from any part of the world, if you're connected with Africa and if you have a business plan, make it visible. And I honestly feel Dubai is a wonderful platform. And um, to nourish your business plan, to make it visible, to give it a very global outlook, a higher standard, connecting with investors, and scaling up your business completely, exposure to UAE for all the African businesses will be an advantage. So I completely urge all the business owners to make use of it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Ami. Saimi, Saimi, are you with us? Give us your parting shot before we close.
Yes, I would like to say thank you very much for this honor of having us host on your platform. And to everyone that has taken time to attend this session, thank you so much. And should you have any questions about fintech, I'm always free to give you all the things that I've experienced in the 12 years that I've been in the business. And there's a lot to talk about. And one thing I would love to advise everyone is we must keep up with technology. This is something I was even one time telling my father that right now, with the way technology is moving, it looks as if most of our education will come online and not in the traditional classes that people go to, because technology is moving so fast that the only place you can use to keep up with it is online. So I would kindly urge everyone, especially in Africa, keep up with technology and you will always be in the game. Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. That has been Saimi Tande, CEO of Mobifin Plus. And so thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I see Invest at Home is saying amazing session. Thank you so much, Invest at Home, for being with us. Thank you for everybody who joined. So we are back. I know we had taken a small break because of some of the challenges we were facing right here in the country of Kenya and across Africa. And it's really a global thing of protest and upheavals. Of course, we pray and hope things will stabilize, but also we pray and hope that all those who are pushing for better governance across the world will get it, so that then we can all have an environment, a good business environment for us to thrive. And at the end of the day, that's all we want. Everybody just wants to thrive and not just to survive. Everybody wants first to survive and then thrive. So this has been the FinTech edition of the Africa UAE Business Summit. As usual, we have barely just scratched the surface in terms of this conversation. So Bonnie at my email is Bonnie at Mawaida Africa. On Instagram, Mawaida Africa. On Instagram, my own personal Instagram, Bonnie_Nyaga. On Facebook, Mawaida Africa, or reach out to me, Boniface Nyaga. On LinkedIn, Boniface Nyaga. Reach out, DM to me. Tell me in any kind of conversation you have around fintech. Are you an African fintech company looking to break into the UAE, or are you an investor from anywhere looking to invest in African in fintech as they expand to the world? Or are you in the UAE looking to break into Africa? Reach out, let's talk. Let's have conversations, and let's take our businesses to the next level. Next week we will be looking at agribusiness. We'll be having an agribusiness conversation. So definitely look out for that. And every single Thursday we'll be right here, 6 p.m. Kenyan time, 7 p.m. GST, which is Dubai time. Talking about different conversations about Africa and the UAE, and seeing how then we can scale up our businesses and just go global and take advantage of all the global opportunities that are out there. So until next time, this particular clip is going to be available on all the links. It's going to be available on Mawaida Africa YouTube. It's going to be available on Boniface Nyaga. LinkedIn is going to be available on Facebook. So even if you haven't caught it live, you can always catch the recap and just follow the conversation. So this is your host, Boni Nyaga, CEO of Mawaida. Until next time, have a good time.